What's up, my fellow nerds? I'm Chris.
And I'm Michelle.
And today we're going to be doing our What Are We Watching? Volume 6. And we've been quite busy as usual with our movie watching, so we'll just dive right in. We've got a lot to go over.
So first up we have Star Wars again. So after we did our ranked video, I decided that I wanted to watch the prequel trilogy, which we did. We enjoyed them as we always do. And if you haven't seen it yet, I do have a Star Wars book haul and a couple of book reviews, one out and one on the way, of those books that I got. So keep an eye out for those too.
So we finished up the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy here by watching Beverly Hills Cop 3. And it is definitely the weaker one of the
for sure
of the trilogy, but it was still enjoyable. I mean, watching Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley is always fun, but it was definitely the weakest of the bunch.
Next up, we have A Quiet Place. We're definitely looking forward to seeing the second one of these. It's a really interesting movie, and just some parts of it are so panic-inducing. But it kills me because I timed it this time. It was 45 minutes, I think, before anyone actually spoke out loud. Yeah. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite horror movies the last couple of years. It was a lot of fun. So we finished out the first Bourne trilogy with Bourne Ultimatum. These movies are so wonderfully consistent. I just can't say enough good things about them.
Next up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you know what? Poor Andrew Garfield just doesn't get enough credit. He was a good Spider-Man.
He really was.
And I loved Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, they really did get kind of a bad break there, because we went back and watched both of those here recently, and man, they're actually pretty entertaining. So we took a chance to go off into Muppet Land here by doing Muppet Treasure Island, and I just love this movie. I love the Muppets. I don't think there's been a bad Muppet movie I've watched so far. I love that movie to bits, and it was a lot of great fun.
They're a lot of lighthearted fun.
Absolutely.
Next up, we have an old 80s favorite, Tango and Cash. And it's just a good time. It's a good action movie, buddy cop movie. Lots of fun.
80s action and just craziness. It's great. So this is a series that we've not really gotten into yet, but I've been hearing so many amazing things about it that we just kind of decided to take the plunge and just start watching it, and we loved it. But we watched the first John Wick. I mean, we're huge Keanu Reeves fans as it is anyway. Man, this movie is just... It was wall-to-wall action, great story. I mean, it was definitely looking forward to watching 2 and 3.
Next up is another one from the Jennifer Lawrence collection I've been working on. It's American Hustle. And I think I appreciated this movie a little bit more this time around. The first time I watched it, I think I didn't know what to expect, and I wasn't crazy about it. But I did enjoy it this time. I mean, it's a lot of great actors doing great acting things, so good time.
So this one is one that's definitely one that I like more than you do. But we went off into the MCU world and watched The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. I really love this film. I remember watching this with Iron Man when they both came out and just really enjoying both of them a lot. As much as I love Mark Ruffalo in the role, part of me still wonders, what might have been had we actually, gotten to see Edward Norton actually be the Hulk throughout the whole MCU.
Next up, we've got another Marvel film, Captain America: The First Avenger, and this still remains one of my very favorites out of all the Marvel movies thus far. And Steve Rogers is just so lovable.
Absolutely. And just the CGI with him before he, becomes Captain America is still very well done. Yeah, it's definitely one of the best MCU films. Next one we watched is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Of course, the late 70s film with Donald Sutherland. It's such a great, creepy film. Very much in the sci-fi alien invasion kind of realm, and it's great. Just love it to bits. I know you hadn't seen that one before.
I had not seen it. I didn't really know much of anything about it, and it was weird. It was good though.
Yeah, it was really good. And of course, the infamous scene at the end, it's classic.
Next up, we have The Princess Bride. Speaking of classics, it's just awesome. I love this movie forever.
Next one we watched the sequel to Pacific Rim Uprising. It was good. I definitely like the first one a lot better. This one was still a little weaker. I can definitely see where if they probably don't make another one, that's probably a good idea.
The best part of that one was John Boyega.
Yeah, Boyega. He's good in the role. It's just, I mean, the first one was really good and was actually one of my favorite kaiju films, especially the last 10 years or so. But this one, I don't know, it just felt a little flat for me.
I think those movies, I just like the premise more than I like the actual execution.
Well, that's true.
Next up is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with Sean Connery. I love this movie. I actually saw this movie and it caused me to go back and read a lot of classic books that I hadn't read back in high school. So I really enjoy this movie. It's a favorite of mine.
All right, so the next one we watched was the sequel to the Michael Bay 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I really enjoyed this film. I was not as big a fan of the 2014 film, but the 2016 film, I feel like it got a lot right. You got Bebop, you got Rocksteady, Casey Jones, Shredder comes back, the Krang. Of course, I did a where I ranked my 5 favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version, and this actually slipped in at number 5. We'll put the card up here for you to link to that video. That's how much I liked it. I'm still not a big fan of the designs of these turtles, but the rest of it was a really great turtle story, I thought.
The story was good, but their faces are just a little bit too human, and for some reason it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, they can definitely do better on that end.
All right, next up, I rarely ever do this to him, but I made him watch a romantic comedy with me. So this one's Leafier. It's your pretty typical romantic comedy, but I just enjoy these 2 particular actors on screen and the interactions that they have. So
yeah, and as far as rom-coms go, it works really well, so I can't complain. The last few here I have in the stack are mainly DC movies. We went pretty heavy on DC here lately, so but we watched a part of the DC animated universe, Justice League Dark. And this film is just, I love this so much. Really, Batman's the only one out of the proper Justice League that's in this film at all. But the rest of it, just bring together, Deadman, Zatanna, John Constantine, Etrigan, Swamp Thing. It was just, it was a lot of fun and really dark for an animated movie.
That's been my favorite one of the animated ones so far, though.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was really fantastic. Loved it a lot.
Next up is a sort of throwback to my childhood, and I guess kind of in the same vein of the new Ninja Turtles, but I was a Power Rangers girl, so I finally got to see the new Power Rangers movie. I'm so sad now that this didn't do well because I really liked it, and they set it up beautifully for the sequel, and it's just not going to get one, but I really liked it. I thought it did a good job of updating it and maturing it enough that those of us who were fans 25 years ago can really enjoy this, but then a kid could definitely jump in and enjoy it too.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, but and some things work and some things don't, and that was just one that didn't, I guess. So going back into the DC animated universe, we watched basically the proper sequel to The Death of Superman, Reign of the Supermen. Again, it's just another really enjoyable entry. I feel like this universe is very consistent, and there's some I like more than others, but again, it's just another solid entry.
And then next we have Toy Story 2, which if you listen to Dimitri Martin, was okay.
Toy Story 2 is okay.
We watched it with our daughter, and she absolutely loved it. She really enjoyed the first one when we watched it, too, so it was nice to see her like that one.
And then a couple of ones from the Burton Schumacher films. We watched Batman 1989, of course, the first one, with the Joker. Jack Nicholson's the Joker. And then we watched Batman Forever also. Both of those had anniversaries coming up where they were released here recently, so we watched those kind of in order. Also, with Joel Schumacher passing away, we decided to go back and revisit Forever. Also, just the great news that Michael Keaton is in very deep talks to come back in the Flash movie and possibly other films. So it was just an exciting time. So I was very happy to revisit those. Of course, Batman 1989 was the very first video that we put up on the channel. So I'll put a link up there so you can take a look at that.
Next up is Titanic. This is one that I remember seeing. I think this is the first PG-13 movie my parents ever took me to see. And we watched it, and it was so long. It's a tad over 3 hours, but it's funny because if you think about that now, that's not really that long in comparison to a lot of movies. Mm-mm. We have regularly movies that are in between 2.5 and 3 hours, but I still love this movie. I loved both of the main characters. Even the supporting characters are really well acted, and the scenery and the sets and everything are amazing.
I think the love story for that always kind of is a little for me, but the whole setup of that story, and especially when the ship starts to sink, I think that is fantastic drama and really just your heart. Like you picture yourself in that situation. Like if there's no way out, like how would you respond? We watched Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders and loved it. I thought it was so perfectly in line with the original 1966 show, and was very happy to see to have Adam West and Burt Ward come back as Batman and Robin in voice form. It was perfectly in line with the tradition of that show. It handles it very well.
A lot of good jokes. A lot of good cheesy jokes.
A lot of good, really cheesy jokes. Like I said, everything just falls perfectly in line with it. And I'm actually kind of sad I waited this long to watch it because it was really, really fun. And then we also watched 2 of the 3 out of the Dark Knight trilogy. We watched The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight to me is probably my favorite Batman film and my favorite superhero film of all time. And I know you are really partial to The Dark Knight Rises, and you especially love Catwoman in that. And I feel like it's a great ending to that trilogy. Some people have misgivings about that film, but I really love it as well. I just think the whole trilogy is really strong. You know, if you have any thoughts about what we've watched, please leave them in the comments. Also, if you have anything to suggest to us, please let us know in the comments as well. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing here at Dees Nerds, as well as ring the bell icon so you know when those videos are coming out. Also, we're on Facebook and Instagram, so please follow us there for content that we post daily. So until next time, I'm Chris.
And I'm Michelle.
And we are Dees Nerds, and you guys have a great, safe rest of the day.
Bye.